Yeah, I think even before Greg Mattison's announcement, and I guess Ryan Day made the announcement for him when we spoke to him last Friday, or on Monday, I guess. But the defense was going to need some adjustment regardless. I mean, we saw, we've talked at length about this pass defense and the struggles it had against top passing offenses, Indiana, Clemson, Alabama becoming the three biggest, but even in some other games. So this defense was going to need some retooling. And the announcement that Greg Mattison is retiring now kind of opens up an avenue for Ohio State to do that without trying to retool with what they've got. You have the ability, if they so choose, to bring in somebody who has some different or new ideas to add to the mix and possibly change some things. Since Ryan Day's been the head coach, they've largely run with this single high cover three defense that it's what Pete Carroll has kind of made famous, both with when he was at USC and some defenses he coordinated for that, and now the Seahawks run it predominantly. But when they've gotten to big games, specifically the college football playoff, they've gone away from that to some degree. We saw 2 years ago against Clemson, they played more two safeties, and then this year, they played two safeties against Clemson a lot in the playoff semifinal, and they changed the defense, playing four linebackers at times against Alabama. So I think the question that's facing Ohio State, and this goes into what you do with this hire, is what do you want your base defense to be? Is it this single high look that you were successful with, obviously, in 2019, or do you change that? And if you're going to stick with it, you appear to need more variations off of it when you get to the real big games against top pass offenses. So do you bring in a guy who can fit in right away because he understands that type of base defense that you want to have? Or do you bring in somebody with some different ideas and kind of mix things up a little bit? Ryan Day also talked about being very pleased with the guys still remaining on the coaching staff. Matt Barnes, who is the safeties coach, more or less, and I think he's listed as the assistant secondaries coach and special teams coordinator, probably deserves more credit that he's gotten for any success that this past defense has had. And, that's a guy, maybe you promote him and bring somebody else in a different role and just kind of move things around. So there's a lot of different options here to Ryan Day and the staff as a whole. I think that I know that they weren't caught off guard by Greg Mattison's announcement to retire. So there's probably been some thought about this behind the scenes, but obviously when you're in the middle of the season, what's going to happen after the season isn't your immediate thought. So now's the time when they're going to have to make those decisions. I can't imagine they will let this drag on very long, but it'll be very interesting to see who they hire and kind of the background of that person, because I think it'll give us an idea of what they're thinking for this defense as you head into the offseason.
Carrie Combs with a long history with the team. You said that Ryan Day had positives to speak of in regards to the coaching staff. So nothing in regards to Carrie Combs, any hints of an evaluation there based on his performance in 2020?
No, I don't think so. I think that, I'm sure behind the scenes that there's been some talk. Obviously they were not happy with the pass defense. But I also think when you're evaluating this year, like anything, even the successes, you have to take into account that there wasn't the normal offseason and you're replacing guys in the secondary, so many guys in the secondary, 3 NFL starters that, Carrie Combs, who, let's remember, Jeff Hafley was in that role 2 years ago, helping to install this defense. Carrie Combs was brought in to replace him when Jeff Hafley went to Boston College. So without an offseason to really work with these guys, especially the younger guys who are coming in to starting roles or prominent roles for the first time, I think you give Combs some leeway. And so I think those evaluations will certainly be made behind the scenes, but publicly, I don't think you say anything. I do think maybe the leash gets a little shorter just because you didn't have the success that you expected in terms of that pass defense. But heading into a new season, I think you expect Carrie Combs, given his track record, albeit not running a defense on his own until last year, I think you give him a chance to kind of prove himself in a second year with a more traditional build up and whatnot to the season.